Hey guys, so today I am going to be doing a really fun kind of challenge video. Today I am going to be doing the 99-cent store art supply challenge, or basically a cheap art supply challenge. Now, back before I used the art supplies that I used now, I actually used to buy a very large majority of my art supplies from the 99-cent store. I think the only thing I didn't buy was like sketchbooks, but other than that, pretty much a very large amount of stuff I used came out of the 99-cent store. Growing up, I used to visit around the area where the 99-cent store was a lot, so it was very accessible for me to just go there and pick up supplies, and they did have a pretty good amount of nice looking stuff. And I know at least at my school, people always had really nice stationery, but I didn't have the money to be spending $5 on a mechanical pencil that I was probably gonna lose in a month. So the 99-cent store was just a really good alternative, I guess you could say, for me. I'll probably do a video in the future of some more old sketchbooks, so you'll probably see a lot of my art then in those videos, so be on the lookout for those, and I'll definitely show some of the stuff I did with cheap art supplies then. But for now, let's get into the haul of stuff I'm going to be using in this video. So the first thing I got is a sketchbook, because we're gonna need paper to draw on, obviously. So I got this sketchbook. This sketchbook I actually didn't buy at the 99-cent store. I already had this. However, when I went to the 99 sketchbook, oh my god, I cannot talk. When I went to the 99-cent store, I was gonna buy a sketchbook there. However, they were selling this exact sketchbook there, and I was like, I already have this at home. It doesn't make sense to buy another one, because then I'm just gonna have a ton of stuff I'm never gonna get around to using. So why don't I just use up what I have first? So I have this. Now, like I mentioned, the one thing that I never really bought from 99-cent stores were sketchbooks, because the paper is just really thin, as you can see here. And as you'll see what supplies we are going to be using, I'm really curious with how this is going to hold up. I actually tried this paper out with watercolors, and it pretty much warped the paper really bad, so I'm really excited to try this out. Next up, I got some mechanical pencils, because honestly, I love 99-cent store mechanical pencils, and I got some erasers to go with it. I'll probably end up using these eventually, because I also really always seem to run out of erasers. I lose them or stuff happens. Next up, I got some pens, and you're probably thinking, Kelly, those pens are obviously made for writing, and you are probably 100% right on that. I used to buy the pens on the left very specifically because I used to ink my drawings with them, and I always remember struggling a lot because the pen would just not go over the pencil well, and I would get frustrated. But you know what, I wanted to relive that childhood experience, and I just wanted to try the ones on the right. Now, I probably should have gotten a thicker permanent marker for outlining and coloring in and stuff, but you know what, I didn't, so we're just gonna do this. And finally, the last product we have are these fiber tip pens, so basically these markers. Now, I used to use these all the time, and I had the specific 18 pack. I would go to that specific store because they were the only one that sold the 18 pack, because the 99-cent store near me, which is where I went to buy most of this stuff, they were selling these pens, but they only had the 12 pack for some reason. So I decided, you know what, I have one pack of these of the 18 left, so I'm just gonna use that so we can have more color variety. It doesn't make sense to pay for a 12 pack when you can have the 18 pack I have at home already, so we are going to be using this. I'm really excited for this challenge because I really do want to hopefully show that you can create good art out of anything. I mean, obviously my art isn't amazing, but I just want to show that you can really use any supplies to create art. I feel as long as you have that passion and your dedication, you can make stuff work. So I hope you guys enjoy, and let's get started. So for the drawing, I decided to do Peridot, so I started off doing a basic sketch. You know, everything went fine. I then went and inked, and the ink was pretty fine. I didn't have any really problems with it. It was kind of just like inking regularly. The only thing is I believe the ink is water-based, so I wouldn't recommend using it with watercolors. But I then went in with the markers, and the yellow I thought was really good. It was a little patchy when you looked up close, but from far away I feel like it doesn't look that bad. The paper also I felt held up pretty okay. There was parts, especially when you can see here when I was coloring with the green, I felt like the paper was starting to like rip up. I don't really know how to describe it, but it definitely was not the best, so I recommend getting maybe more of a copy paper or a cardstock if you want a cheap paper. But the green was definitely pretty patchy. It was like a lot more patchier than the yellow for some reason, which I'm not 100% sure why. And here I just went around with a black marker for the border. I then decided I wanted to kind of like cut it out because I wasn't planning it on keeping it in this book. I'm going to put it in my sketchbook. So what I did was I went and I kind of cut around the border area. And then afterwards, I went and, as you'll see, I went in with this like really neon highlighter yellow color that I really liked. And I just kind of colored the border around that. And then finally, the last thing I did, as you'll see in the next clip after this, is I went and I added some like black kind of polka dot things, but I don't really know how good they look. I don't know. I feel like they kind of ruined it. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope this inspired you to create. Again, you can create with whatever you have. I believe in you guys. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!